You know what a nightmare math has been. We all sit down together and we do the science. God, should we just like switch to this full time? She has her own YouTube channel now. I'm not ready to just throw her into the first grade yet. Again, she just turned 5. There is a method to the madness. Oh my goodness, I cannot believe that I forgot to include these in our initial curriculum picks video. Welcome back, everybody, and 'tis the season for a good curriculum haul. I'm going to be showing you all of our curriculum picks for the 25-26 school year. We are year-round homeschoolers, so it's not like our kids go to the next grade level on a certain date of a certain month every single year. We kind of just go with the flow, but for the most part, they seem to be starting their next grade levels around the month of September. So I have stocked up on everything that we're gonna need next year. This is for 3 out of my 4 kids. My 4th kid is a baby. She just kind of hangs out while we do our schoolwork all day. This is gonna be for my 8-year-old, for my 5-year-old, and for my 3-year-old. I'm also gonna be including some online programs, websites, apps, things that we also use in our homeschool to supplement our core curriculum. So let's get into it. Starting off with my oldest daughter, she is 8 years old. She will be going into the 3rd grade. So she's kind of like my guinea pig, right? She's the one that I started homeschooling from the beginning. She's the one that I tried all these different curriculums with. And I'm finally getting to a point where I'm understanding her learning style. We're really seeing what works for her. And it should be no surprise to those of you that have been following me for a while, we are not leaving Christian-led education. You will have to pry this curriculum out of my cold dead hands. Like, I'm so obsessed with this. However, we do only use Christian-led education for specific subjects. So for my 3rd grader, we will be using Christian-led education for reading, for 3rd grade reading. This is my big fat teacher's guide. Here's the little reader book that comes with it. And then if you're familiar with Christian-led education, it doesn't have just one big textbook for the kids to work in. It's individual light units. I have them back there somewhere, like little paper booklets that they work through throughout the year. So for reading, we will definitely be sticking with Christian-led education. And then to pair with that, the reading with Christian-led education is separate from the language arts. So I know a lot of curriculums, they combine reading and language arts together. Christian-led, one reason why I love them, language arts is totally separate. And in this case, it is so important for it to be separated because your language arts is like your grammar, your spelling, your mechanics, your phonics even. But your reading, that's more of like the comprehension, reading a story, understanding story structure, character, plot, setting, that kind of thing. Totally different from language arts. So language arts, 3rd grade, Christian-led education. Again, this is just my teacher's guide. It does come with like the student light units and things that she'll be working through for that. We will also be continuing with our Bible curriculum for my 3rd grader. This is AOP's LifePac Bible. This is similar to Christian-led education in that instead of one big textbook, they work through these unit workbooks throughout the year. We used LifePac Bible for 2nd grade. She really enjoyed it, so we will definitely be moving on to it for the 3rd grade. It's very colorful. She can work completely independently, just read through the stories on her own, answer the questions. That's one good thing I will say about LifePac is that they can just kind of take off and work at their own pace, work independently. So that is our Bible curriculum for my 3rd grader. And then we have our 3rd grade math. Again, those of you that have been following me, you know what a nightmare math has been. Over the last 4 years, like I feel so guilty, but we have tried so many different math curriculums. The Good and the Beautiful was like the worst of the worst, I'm sorry to say. We switched to Math UC, that wasn't really that good. We've even tried like the Abeka math online, and as much as I love Abeka, the math, it just wasn't really a good fit. We've tried Beast Academy online. We do use CTCMath online, which I really enjoy as well, but I wanted book style math curriculum for her core curriculum. So after all the trials of all those different curriculums, we finally made the switch to Christian-led education last year. I actually had her do an entire year of 1st grade math over again because that's how many gaps are left behind. Then we're finishing up with our 2nd grade Christian-led education math curriculum, and then next year we will be moving into the 3rd grade. So really kind of learned my lesson with that one, right? Like if it ain't broke, don't fix it kind of thing. This curriculum has done wonders for her in math, and as much as I am tempted to just go fully online for math, like with CTCMath or even Time for Learning, I really liked their math as well. I still have this like thing inside of me that says, I want to teach it. I want to be the one to teach it. When they get into middle school and high school, we'll rely on more online programs. But for now, Christian Ed Education, 3rd grade math. And then finally for my 3rd grader, science is another one of those subjects where we have tried many, many different curriculums and I don't know, we just couldn't find a good fit. So we recently switched over to unit studies. This is a unit study program called Schoolhouse Discoveries. I've posted many videos about this before, and this is something we do family style. So it's not like I just do this with my 3rd grader. We actually all sit down as a family, sometimes my husband even included, my 3-year-old, my 5-year-old, we all sit down together and we do the science. This year we are moving into the weather unit study. We're finishing up on the rainforest unit study right now, super cute. We've already done their farming unit study, so this will be our 3rd unit study with them, and we are doing the wonders of weather. So it's the teacher's guide here, just a cute little book for the teacher's guide, and then this is the kind of like a box set that gets delivered to you with all the supplies and books, like little arts and crafts pieces. I also did buy the sibling add-on with this. So you can buy the sibling add-on where you have like extra worksheets and extra materials, because my 5-year-old really likes to do the activities along with my 8-year-old. My 3-year-old kind of just sits and watches, and of course the baby just sits and watches, but my 8-year-old and 5-year-old really get into this. So I did get the sibling add-on this year for that. Now, in terms of online programs and apps and things that we use with my 3rd grader, this year is a little weird because we are going through a big move right now. And so I have been relying on the Time for Learning program to kind of fill in the days that I don't have time to teach. We're packing or meeting with realtors, like it's just been crazy. Time for Learning honestly has been amazing. Every day I say to myself, like, God, should we just like switch to this full time? Because it's just so convenient having your kid wake up, hop on the computer, doing all their work for the day. But again, I just have that like sense of guilt. So we will be using Time for Learning sporadically here and there. It will definitely be something we rely on during this crazy move that we're going through right now before we jump into like our main core curriculum. So Time for Learning is one. This is CTCMath. This is the online math program that I use more so as like a supplement. So like if they're struggling with something in math and I don't have time to reteach it, or they just need some other way of learning it, I will put them on the CTCMath program. My 8-year-old really benefited from this when she was struggling with telling time. I was like, I don't know how many different ways I can teach you to tell time, right? Just hop on this program, let's see if this can teach you better. And it did really well for her. So CTCMath is one. Another one that everybody keeps asking me about is Miacademy. Are we gonna stick with Miacademy? Because we did try it out for a while. I really do like Miacademy. It's engaging, and we actually will be using it for my 3rd grader for sign language. So 3rd grade, sign language, Miacademy. She watches a video, she answers questions. It's been great. I don't really like Miacademy for like a full core curriculum, at least for my own kids. It just wasn't something that I was interested in. A lot of people use it as a core curriculum and it works great. For me, I just wanted it for electives. So we will be using it for sign language only, Miacademy. And then also for my 3rd grader, she does take classes on Outschool. So Outschool, I have a coupon on my page for that as well. That is just live classes, teachers like me. I even teach on there. I teach vocabulary on there. She takes an art class. So she's been doing a drawing class on Outschool. It's been amazing. Her art skills have improved greatly. So we're definitely sticking with that next year. That is once a week. So she'll be hopping on, doing her 45-minute art class, I think it is. And then she also does take my vocabulary classes with me once a week as well on Outschool. And then some other programs that my oldest daughter likes is SplashLearn. That is one that I use on the iPad for all of my kids actually. It touches on reading and math, just kind of like a little like extra boost, a little supplement. I'm also trying to get my oldest daughter into coding. So there's an app called Code Monkey that we've been messing around with that she seems to really like. But overall, the one program she's been using the most on the computer, on the iPad, is CapCut, because she's really been getting into videography. She sees me making my videos, she wants to make videos, so she has her own YouTube channel now, and it's faceless. I said, you gotta make it faceless. I don't trust people right now. Let me do a little more research on this before I start letting you show your faces. She's been posting videos, she's been editing, doing all of it on her own. It's really, really good. Like her editing skills, it's so impressive. So that is something that I've almost been using as like an elective, right? Like, oh, you wanna go film a video and edit it? There you go, videography for the day. And that is a wrap for my 3rd grader. Now we're gonna move into my kindergartner. And this one is a doozy, because if you've been following me, you know that my kindergartner, she just turned 5 in April, and she was doing pre-K at our local church, like a VPK 4-year-old program. We ended up pulling her out in December because number one, she was like just learning like letters and she already knew all that. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like I could just start homeschooling you kindergarten, like let's just jump into it. So we did. She just finished the Christian Light Education kindergarten program, the full program. She did amazing. That program is wonderful. However, I'm not ready to just throw her into the first grade yet. Again, she just turned 5. I'm not trying to push her, and academically she could probably handle it, but like her maturity level is just not there. So we are gonna do a little kind of filler slash buffer before I feel like she's ready to really move into the first grade. So we are going to try out Horizons Kindergarten. This is a full box set that I have back here. I couldn't fit it all on the table, but it does include Horizons Kindergarten Math and then the phonics and reading program as well. So we are gonna do that for a while. I'm very curious to compare the Horizons program to the Christian Light Education Kindergarten program. She did great with the Christian Light. I feel like she will do great with this as well, but I'm just curious to see like which one she thrives with, because she's a different kind of kid. She is not like my oldest daughter. So we are gonna test out the Horizons Kindergarten. Now, when I do feel like she is ready to move on to the first grade, maturity-wise, academically, like I said, she probably could now, but I'm gonna wait a little bit. Of course, we will be doing Christian Light Education. So with Christian Light Education, the first grade program actually starts with the Learning to Read program. So we will be starting her with this when she's ready, learning to read, and then that will go into the level 1 reading, Christian Light Education level 1 reading, and then to pair with that, Christian Light Education level 1 math. So that will be for my 5-year-old. She also does do, like I said, our unit studies, the wacky weather or wonders of weather. We'll be doing that this year. Some online programs for my 5-year-old are SplashLearn, that one that I was talking about earlier. She does that on the iPad. Time for Learning is one that I've also kind of relied on throughout this move for her that she really seems to enjoy. Educational videos on YouTube Kids. I've got her like a little profile with videos that I only put on there. Like she cannot browse through YouTube Kids. It's only videos that I put on there. So all educational stuff that I want her learning and seeing, and I have total control over that. So she watches that. She does do Reading Eggs, the Reading Eggs app every once in a while. That's cute, but she's kind of growing out of it, sadly. But it is one that she will still engage in every once in a while. But she likes the book work better than the online apps and things like that. So I think she's gonna do really well with this Horizons and then eventually Christian Light Education. And last but not least, my 3-year-old. Yes, my 3-year-old does have her own curriculum. Does a 3-year-old need her own curriculum? No, they don't really need it, right? You can just play and have fun and they don't need a full curriculum, but she sees her big sisters doing their big girl workbooks and she wanted her own. So this is the Horizons Preschool for 3s. We've actually already started this. She's loving it. It's adorable. Coloring, tracing, you know, very developmentally appropriate activities. And she likes to sit at the table and do schoolwork with her big sister. She doesn't focus for that long. That's okay, that's expected. So we're gonna wrap up with this Preschool for 3s program. And then when she finishes that, assuming that we've still got this self-motivated learner, we will also be doing the Horizons Preschool for 4s. So the Preschool for 3s moves into the Preschool for 4s. And then assuming that she is on that same trajectory as my middle daughter, who did the Christian Light Education Kindergarten, that's what we will move into next after this. Now, if we end up loving the Horizons Kindergarten program, like with all these little phonics and reading and math that I showed you with my middle daughter, I might just move my I say youngest, I've got 4 now. My Faith, her name is Faith, the 3-year-old. I might just not do Christian Light Education Kindergarten and just do Horizons Kindergarten. The only reason why we finished Christian Light Education Kindergarten and we're just moving into Horizons Kindergarten for my 5-year-old is just bad timing, right? Like again, I just don't feel like she's ready to move on to the first grade yet. So this is kind of just like an experiment. So it'll be nice to know like what my next daughter, my 3-year-old, will enjoy better, Horizons or Christian Light. My 3-year-old also does do the unit studies with us. Again, I did get a sibling add-on for her as well this year. She doesn't really do like the worksheets. Again, she's 3 years old, but she does really like to do the activities with us. So she will be at the table doing science and social studies as well. They do have social studies units that we'll be moving into as well. She does that with us. One other thing that we do in our homeschool daily is calendar time. Now you can see I have a calendar behind me. We usually just talk about like what day it is, what month it is, what season are we in. But I did buy these calendar books from Christian Light Education. I love these so much. So every single month they're tracking something differently. So they just open up to the page, whatever the month is. For example, this month in June, or July, oh my gosh, we're in July right now. This month in July, we are actually tracking the moon phases. So you can see here in her workbook, each little square, they'll color the moon phase for the day. Now this is my 3-year-old's book, so you don't see anything, but my 8-year-old is actually tracking in hers. Every month is something different. Sometimes they track the wind speed, sometimes they track how many hours of daylight each day. It gives you little facts about each month in here. So this is something we usually sit down as a family and do in the mornings before we move into our science unit study together as a family. Oh my goodness, I cannot believe that I forgot to include these in our initial curriculum picks video. So this is the Horizons Health. This is for grade 3, physical education pre-K to 2. We're gonna do that family style. And then health for kindergarten. Now, I never thought that I would invest in a health curriculum, but when I saw it on their website, I was like, you know what? Maybe we should do a little bit of health. Like, I'll just add it in with our science. Same thing with the PE. Like, the PE is actually really interesting. It's a bunch of like games and stuff that you can play with your kids. Talks about, you know, physical fitness and health and things that you can teach. Very interested in starting this. So these are some add-ons that we'll be doing, kind of like electives, probably alongside the science, but I'm super excited to get these going this year with my girls. Now, the question that I get asked the most, especially when you see all this curriculum and you're probably thinking like, how does she do all that? How do you schedule this? You have so many kids and so many different curriculums. It is tough, but it's not impossible. So one way that I make it work is, instead of just using the same curriculum for each of my children, which would that be easier? Like, if I just used Christian Light Education for every single subject for every single kid, like logistically, that probably would be easier, right? I'm not moving around to different books. I've got all my Christian Light Education stuff organized. Same thing with using like a fully online program. Like Time for Learning, I am so tempted to just switch over to that full time, but I still want to do some of the teaching myself. But my point is, if I were to just move into one single curriculum for all my kids, I feel like I'm almost just modeling the public school system. You know what I mean? Like, I'm replicating the public school system where there's one curriculum for every single child. Doesn't matter if it works for them or not, everybody's gonna use it. And when I was a teacher, that's what it was. Little Johnny really didn't benefit from that curriculum where little Susie did, but little Johnny still has to use that curriculum, you know what I mean? So as a homeschooling mom, I really wanna be intentional about what programs I use for each of my kids. Like I said, my oldest daughter is thriving with Christian Light Education. She just has that kind of, I don't know, studious mindset that you need for a curriculum that's so heavy like that one. But my middle daughter, my 5-year-old, she doesn't have the attention span that my oldest daughter has. And so Horizons might end up being a better fit for her. So that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm kind of experimenting right now. And if that means I have to use a different curriculum for each of my kids, that's what I'm gonna do. Maybe my 3-year-old, as she gets older, she really benefits from a fully online curriculum. So she can go fully online while I'm doing book work style with my other kids. Like, I want to make sure that I'm using the curriculums that fits their learning style, that's gonna benefit them the most. So I know it might seem overwhelming and there's so many moving parts, but there is a method to the madness. Now, in terms of scheduling, the only way, I've tried so many different schedules, and by the way, I have a free schedule template on my website. You just download it. Like, it just downloads and you can edit it. The only thing that works for us, after all the ways that we've tried it, is like a rotation style, okay? So, for example, everybody together in the morning, we do calendar time. Everybody, then we move into the science, little unit studies, experiments, fun stuff. Then it's time to split up. So I typically will work one-on-one with my oldest daughter first so I can get her situated, because most of it she can do on her own. But I want to do the teaching part with her first. So we sit down at the table, reading, language arts, and I do the teaching part. Then she kind of goes off and works independently, and that's when I pull my next daughter to the table and we do our lesson together. And then everybody's like, well, what are your other kids doing when you're working one-on-one at the table? I have tried centers, Play-Doh, books on tape. Like, I have tried everything to keep them occupied while I'm working one-on-one at the table. I am telling you, I hate to say this, I am not a screen type person. The only thing that works is some kind of screen. So typically we have 2 family iPads. One kid will be on one iPad doing SplashLearn, the other will be on reading eggs, depending on which kid it is. Sometimes I do a rotation where they're on the iPad for 10 minutes and then they go play with Play-Doh and then they hop back on the iPad, and it's always something educational. They're not just like mindlessly watching videos, but I do say to them, if you finish your SplashLearn levels, then you can go on to YouTube Kids. You know what I mean? So it's almost like a reward. That is the only way that I can get through our rotations. My oldest daughter as well, like that's when we do the Miacademy sign language or like the online stuff for her is when I'm working with my younger 2. Sometimes I will have my 5-year-old and 3-year-old at the table together because my 3-year-old stuff is like coloring and tracing and it's like cutesy, so they can be at the table together. Sometimes we play it by ear, right? Sometimes one kid's in timeout, the others are at the table with me. It just totally depends, but the only way I have been able to get it to work is with those rotations. And if you ever wanna see what that looks like, I do have videos on here where we do like a day in the life and you can kind of see how I move them around. And it is not something that works right off the bat. Like it takes practice, it takes months to get them into the routine. So don't freak out if you're trying this and it doesn't work. The biggest thing is trying to get them to not interrupt you at the table when you're working with one of your kids unless it's an absolute emergency. And it is so hard to teach them to do that, but it's possible. It is possible. So that is it for the 2025-2026 school year. If y'all know me, you know that I change things up all the time. So if we start using some of these curriculums and we realize it's not working, we're gonna switch it up. So you might be seeing another curriculum haul video shortly if we end up changing it up. But I feel good, again, like I know my kid's style now, I feel good about it. So we're gonna roll with it. And I will see y'all next time for updates on how everything's going.